Hey everyone, so we're continuing talking about misbehavior, and we've talked about what is misbehavior, we've talked about undue attention and misguided power, and so today I want to talk about the third mistaken goal that our kids have. And remember, misbehavior is our kids using their behavior to accomplish a goal, but they're going about it in an unhelpful, mistaken way. And so the third one is called revenge. And this one's really tricky and it's really discouraging as a parent when you experience it, because revenge is when our kids are using their behavior as a weapon. And the mistaken belief behind that is, I can't be liked or loved, and so I'm going to hurt others as I feel hurt. And so this is where we see things like destroying property, saying I hate you, maybe hurting a sibling. It could be failing a class. It could be ripping something up. It could be, Imogen went through a season where she would stick her tongue out at me when she was really young. It can be all sorts of things, quitting something that's important to you, saying mean words, calling names, all of that stuff. It's when our kids are intentionally trying to hurt us. And so as a parent, we feel hurt, we can feel offended, we can feel like, I won't let you get away with that. How dare you? And really discouraged. And here's the thing with revenge. When a kid is in a revenge mode, it can happen for a number of reasons. One, it could happen because you've been in a lot of power struggles, right? We talked about power struggles yesterday, where if you approach it as someone's going to win and someone's going to lose, and you keep winning, and often you do because you're the bigger person in terms of size and authority and all of that, and they feel like they're left a loser. If they lose enough, they start to feel like, well, I can't win, and so I'm going to lash out. And when a kid is in, or it could be that there's just a lot of things going wrong in their life and they just feel really unliked and unlovable. And so when they're in a revenge mode, they're most unlikable. They really are. They're acting unlikable on purpose. And what we want to do, and often how we respond, is with punishment or with threats or with arguments. And really all that does is it actually feeds the revenge cycle, because it's not a power struggle, right? They're not trying to get one up on you. What they're saying is, I'm hurting, notice me, validate my feelings. And so when our kids are in a revenge cycle, we actually have to do the opposite of what we want to do. Because what we want to do when they're using their behavior as a weapon, we want to punish, we want to teach, we want to lash out, or else we might take it really personally. And what we actually need to do is help this child feel loved. And I know I had a friend their child was in revenge, and they were doing this all over the place, at their basketball practice, at home, with siblings, with teachers, and they were just really acting like an unlikable kid. And it was hard to want to spend time with them, because he was just acting out left and right. And now this was outside of, there were not extenuating circumstances. There wasn't, a learning challenge or any of that. It was just, he was stuck in this cycle of, I'm not likable, and all these adults around him. So when I sat down with them, I said, is there any adult right now that's reflecting back to this child that they're liked, that they're loved? And it's really hard to reflect that back when they're not acting likable. And when they thought about it, they're like, no, not really. His coach is exasperated, his teacher's exasperated, we're exasperated. And I said, so here's the way to get out of a revenge cycle is you actually have to stop all the punishment, because the more you punish, the worse it gets, because that child it feeds that mistaken belief of, I can't be liked or loved. And so I'm going to hurt others as I feel hurt. And so we really need to deal with the why behind it. And that can feel really strange as a parent, because it feels like, oh, you're letting your kid off the hook. But if you know why they're in that mode, right, then you really want to address the thing behind it, what they're actually trying to accomplish, rather than feeding into the mistaken belief of, I can't be liked or loved, so I'm going to hurt others as I feel hurt. Instead, what they really, really want is, notice me, validate my feelings. So one of the most important things to do is stop all punishment, and you can address things that are out of line outside of the moment, but punishment is actually just going to feed the cycle worse. And then a big thing is spend time with this child, spend time with them. Use reflective listening. So when they say, I hate my brother, I hate my teacher, or you're the worst, you say, I can see that you are really mad, or you feel really frustrated, or you must be so disappointed. any way that you can share, like, I've experienced that too, a Me Too movement, and not a Me Too moment, not a like, don't complain, everybody feels that way, the world is hard, get over it. But yeah, I've been there. I know what that feels like. And to really step into their shoes and let them know that you can empathize. Like, oh, that must have really hurt when your teacher chose that person over you. Or I've had a friend not call me back, and that really hurt my feelings. Whatever that is, maybe it's failing a test or not living up to something that you really put your heart and soul into. Apologize, make things right. So if you have been in constant argument and you're seeing that maybe they feel like they just all they can do is lose, so what do they have left to do but lash out? You come back to them and say, hey, we've been in this cycle, and I want to own my part, and I'm really sorry, and I want you to know that I love you no matter what. Now, so Imogen, she went through a revenge phase over a number of different things. We've moved, and she lost her friends, and she was really mad at us. And being able to tell her, yeah, I'd be mad too. I feel mad that we moved. But she went through a phase where she would say she hates us because of it. And so, she'd storm off, and I would just feel so offended. And here's the thing with a revenge cycle, the less you take it personally, the better off you're going to be. Because if you start taking it personally, you're going to react defensively, and you're going to react offended, rather than really it's really about what's going on inside of your child, and you're just there to coach and help them along. So with that, when she would say, I hate you, or I wish you weren't my mom, or you're the worst, she knew that she could go calm down, and having a designated place for your child to go calm down and just kind of regather themselves is super important, that they know that they have a safe place where they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want. Giving them a space to get their feelings out is really important. So Imogen knows her bedroom. She can be as mad and mean as she wants in her bedroom. And later when she would come back, we would sit down and I'd say, wow, I can just see you're really hurting and you feel pretty angry and you feel really upset. That's what I see. I see a really discouraged kid. And she would just start to cry. And then I would say, but I do want to talk about saying I hate you, because our words have power and we don't want to say things that damage our relationship. So let's think about some other things that you could say when you're really mad. Like, you could shout your feelings, like, I feel so mad. I feel so mad at you. I wish we never moved. This is the worst. Those are all fine things, but they don't actually break a relationship down. So you can follow back up with, I can see that you're really angry. I could see that you were really frustrated there. Using your hands against your sibling is not the way to deal with that, right? Let's think about some other ways. But now you're coming alongside them and you're showing that you're on their side, that you care about them, that you're working with them. And so rather than berating them about them getting it wrong again, because the more you do that, the more they feel like, see, I'm not likable, I'm not lovable. Nobody cares about me. Nobody is on my side. And so you got to get on their side. And this is another one I talked about with undue attention, spending special time with your kid. I think revenge is really important because, scheduled time where they get to choose. And why it's so important is you need to be reminded that your child is a child and that you love them and that you care about them, because it's really hard when they're in a revenge cycle to feel that way. You kind of have to, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. You love them. There's that saying, love you always, like you sometimes, with your kids, like, love you always, but right now I don't really like you. And so getting time with them where you're doing something that they are good at, that they enjoy, that is going to build up their encouragement, it will start to take away that other problematic behavior. So when it comes to revenge, validate their feelings, use reflective listening, try to hear the message behind whatever the behavior is. Follow up with problematic behavior, but not with punishment, but with problem solving. Okay, so when you're mad, let's think about some other things that you could do. And, one of the things we've always done with Imogen is, how are you going to make this right? If she's done something that she's hurt someone else, hurt a relationship, hurt property, how are you going to make it right? And then schedule special time with them, something that just is going to make them feel lovable, even when you don't feel like it. And it feels like you're rewarding bad behavior. But remember, really what you're trying to do is counter that message of, I can't be liked or loved, and so I'm going to hurt others as I feel hurt. If you can counter that and start to see, like, no, you can be liked or loved, even at your worst. And for those of us who are followers of Jesus, that's grace, right? That's what God does for us. He meets us at our very worst. and he loves us to be better. And as parents, that's what we get to do. We can meet our kids at their lowest point and love them to be their best self. So I hope that's helpful. Again, if you have questions about revenge or misguided power or undue attention, shoot me a message, comment on the video. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the very last mistaken goal, which is assumed inadequacy, which is a tricky one to see, but it's really important to know when it's going on, because that's when our kids are super discouraged and they really need our help. So I hope this is helpful, and I will see you tomorrow when we talk about assumed inadequacy.